My first contact with a member of a First Nation was during medical school. I had the privilege of meeting a really very amazing woman who was director of the Cattery Hospital in Ganawagi, the Mohawk community south of Montreal. She was trying to recruit a doctor for her community and asked for help from a professor at the Montreal Children's Hospital who knew the medical students involved with the Point St. Charles Community Clinic. They didn't find a doctor for Ganawagi that year, but I ended up living in the empty doctor's residence in that community for a couple of semesters with two of my classmates in exchange for drawing blood samples from patients at the hospital several times a week. Later, one of those classmates continued to work with the hospital director and helped them obtain a budget to build and staff a much larger hospital and clinic. Also during my student years in the early 1970s, the Cree people of northern Quebec were demonstrating in the streets of Montreal against Premier Robert Bourassa's giant power project on their traditional lands. I was impressed when the Crees succeeded in getting an injunction in court blocking construction of a huge dam on the La Grande River. The injunction led to negotiations and the eventual signing of the James Bay and Northern Quebec Agreement between the Crees and the Quebec and federal governments. During my family medicine training, I spent a week in a small indigenous community in northern Ontario that was only accessible by plane. People there lived in small cabins with no electricity nor running water. I had considered working in the Third World after finishing training, but discovered there was a kind of Third World right here in Canada. I decided to try and get a job in a Cree community in northern Quebec. When I applied to work there, it helped that I had done an internship at the Montreal Children's Hospital and that I liked obstetrics, because the birth rate was quite high at that time and a lot of children were sick. I was very happy when I was offered a job.